Welcome to the People Teaching People podcast. Joining me on the podcast are Monika Scott and Robyn Mair. I first learned about mint cleaning products when I was at a local coffee shop and community hub called Social Grounds in the community of Oakridge in Calgary, Alberta. Social Grounds also sells snacks and ice cream, hosts art classes and fitness classes, and sells products made by local and Canadian small businesses. Long story short, one of the friends that I was attending the fitness class with was raving about these mint cleaning products, how awesome they were and how good they smelled. And I got curious. I looked into the brand and the story behind it, and lo and behold, I learned about Monika and Robyn and their incredible and inspiring story. I am so thrilled for this chance to connect with them both and to learn more. Monika and Robyn, the founders of Mint Cleaning Products, met in 2016 through a local mom group. The pair bonded immediately and even decided to start a cleaning business together the very next day. What began as a small cleaning service in Ucluelet, BC, quickly grew into an overnight success. However, after suffering the side effects of using harsh chemical cleaners every day, they began to experiment and create their own eco-friendly, plant-based, non-toxic products. Today, Mint Cleaning Products is known across Canada for its innovative and effective solutions available in over 200 retail stores and refilleries. With a commitment to quality, environmental responsibility, and a personal touch, Monika and Robyn have turned Mint into a trusted brand that brings green cleaning to every home. Thank you so much for joining me, Robyn and Monika.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Yeah, we're so excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'm so excited that you both said yes. So
Yeah.
thank you for that. I wanted to start by diving into your story. So I want you to take us back to 2016, and you are in a mom group together. And what sort of, I guess, connected you both and then ultimately ended up sparking this idea to go into business together?
Okay.
Yeah, well, we're from Ucluelet, which is a very small town. So I know my perspective, we went to this kind of mutual friend, had a little mom get together. Our babies were young at the time. And I saw Robyn across the room and I was like, who is that? Because I know everybody, right? And there's this like hot mom with twins. And I was like, who's this? Who is this? And so I went up and introduced myself and we just hit it off like right away. We were cry laughing within minutes and just like had the same sense of humor and all that good stuff. And as the kind of little hangout progressed, people kind of overheard us both saying the same thing, that after Mat Lee, we were thinking of starting our own little cleaning business, doing some Airbnb cleaning. It's such a need in this town. You can make good money and it's flexible, all that stuff. And so one of our friends was like, you two should talk because you're both saying the same thing. So we're like, do you want to go for a walk the next day? So the next day we went for a walk. And by the end of the walk, we started a cleaning business.
Yeah.
And then literally that night, I was already like, our town is like, I hear you're starting a cleaning business. Like, can I get in? Needless to say, we had a full client list within kind of days, and we already were hiring staff within our first month of business together. Booming business. And then I can kind of take it to Robyn where things went downhill.
Things started going downhill. So we were using all those harsh cleaning chemicals every day, all day. And it was really starting to take a toll on her health. So Monika was suffering from like asthma, skin issues. And then me, I got sick and then they found scarring on my lung when they took an x-ray. And we were just feeling really, really bad at the end of the day too. So it was just taking a toll. And we're like, okay, maybe we should start using some healthier products, eco-friendly products. And then we bought a bunch from the grocery store. And then turns out we were researching the ingredients and they weren't actually eco-friendly. They were filled with like synthetic fragrances and this and that, greenwashing. Everyone knows that word. And so then we were like, at the same time as this was all happening, COVID happened. So then our business shut down completely. So we had some more time on our hands. So we're like, you know what? Let's start experimenting with our own recipes because I've heard there's so many DIYs on the internet. And so in our kitchens, like after the kids go to bed, we were kind of experimenting with our own cleaning product recipes. And then turns out they were like working. We were using essential oils and baking soda and all this stuff. And then we were able to use it in our cleaning business. And then our staff was able to test these products. And they were like, this is a little streaky. And then we would Google, okay, what helps with streaks? Rubbing alcohol. Okay, let's put that in there. So it was really this testing ground that ended up working out for us.
Our Instagram following started kind of taking off around COVID as well, where people were into watching cleaning. So our Instagram at first was us showing like, use Lysol for this, use this for that. And then all of a sudden our audience kind of saw us get sick and get through like the process Robyn just talked about trying and experimenting. And then next thing you know, as we're showing our cleans and using the scrub was our first product and all that, our followers started asking to buy them. So we would just like put out kind of 12 a day. We're like, we'll just put them in some mason jars with like a sticker from our printer. And they would sell it within like a second. And we're like, oh, crazy. Well, we'll make double that tomorrow. And then next thing you know, our cleaning business reopened back up, like Robyn said. So we were full on test mode. Then we were all of a sudden had this other business that was actually kind of taking off. We're like, what's happening here? And then to the point where we opened a Shopify account. And at that point we had both businesses like booming. And I have 3 kids. Robyn has twins. We're like, something has to give. This is insane. So we took a chance, and we're, you know, our husbands are a bit nervous because the products weren't making money yet. It was a lot of our cleaning business was. So, but we decided to just follow our gut and go for it. And then 2021 in July, we actually were able to shut down our cleaning business and just fully go for products.
Yeah. Fast forward to today, we're in over 250 retail stores. We have a huge warehouse space in Ucluelet, and thriving online store.
Dragon's Den,
this whole thing. And here we are talking to you. So it's been a good decision.
Well, that's quite the story.
Yeah.
That's quite the story. And all kind of from that random connection in the mom group.
Totally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. There's so much I want to dive into more, but I actually want to go back a little bit further than when you first both met one another.
Mm-hmm.
So before the meeting at the mom group, did either of you have any previous entrepreneurial like aspirations or ventures or anything that you'd done?
I was a hairdresser way back in another life. I was 22 and I opened up my own hair salon, and it was a massive failure. It was in Ontario and I almost went bankrupt because of it. My credit score went way down and I really had to rebuild. It took about 10 years to rebuild that. So that kind of was like a bad experience entrepreneur wise, but I always kind of had it, always wanted to have my own business again. And I always said, you know, when I'm 40, I'll start another business, because that was such a massive failure. But I learned so much from that experience and going through those hard times. And it kind of set me up for knowing this could fail. There was a lot of risk doing it again, but I just, I've always kind of had that entrepreneur spirit. And same with Monika too.
I had my own like home daycare and loved it. Just loved having my own thing always. And then I did the like sold leggings.
Monika sold leggings
by Monika.
And it wasn't
like those kind of things. It wasn't an MLS.
Okay.
I didn't do MLS, but
MLM.
I always, or MLS, sorry, MLS. See?
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. So I think it's same with Robyn, just both always, since I was a young kid, I was always starting weird things, selling things. I had my own little janitorial service at a young age, and just weird, like same thing, always wanted to find, I think for a Ucluelet, it's like that kind of place where you have to make it work for you. So you can't just come in with whatever degree you have, so I was like, this place needs childcare and this place needs cleaners. Like those are always sought after. That's what we said in our initial discussion, was like, we would kill it because like everyone I know has a vacation rental and nobody has cleaners. Everyone's scrambling. So it was just kind of finding that need, filling a need is huge for if you're wanting to be an entrepreneur. Look for what's needed out there.
Yeah. And I was managing restaurants before I had my kids, and then I got pregnant with twins, and then I couldn't do those hours. So it was a lot of nights, long hours. And then I needed a job that had flexible hours with the twins and that wasn't running around in a restaurant all night. So that's why I got into the cleaning business. It wasn't because I loved cleaning. It was like, okay, this is good money. It's a need, and I can work when I want, basically. So it was really coming out of that experience that we started the cleaning company as well.
Yeah, totally.
Well, what really resonates to me, my background is as a teacher, like a long time ago, classroom teacher, but education's like my area of passion. So I hear all this incredible teaching and learning. That was a big part of your experience. And then also being a mom, I've got 3 teenage boys.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. One's an adult, which I'm struggling to adjust to the idea of having an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, they get so big. But that flexibility piece is just so huge. And that was actually a big piece of me sort of looking outside of the classroom for what I could do in the world of education, because it's tricky as a mom trying to make all that work. So I want to kind of focus it on that educational piece a little bit. So you've had this incredible adventure together. What would be some of the key lessons that you've learned, especially with switching things up from being a cleaning service business to a cleaning product business and then scaling your business? What have been some of the things you've learned along the way?
Well, I think we use the word pivot a lot, I think, and that's huge in business. Like something like COVID happened. Okay, we got to pivot here, or this happened. We got to pivot. We can't handle both these two businesses. So I feel like, Friends pivot. We all love the, but I feel like we're always like pivot.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's important important to have that flexibility within yourself and not be stuck in the way things are and grow with business, and times are always changing, and being open to that and hearing what's needed, hearing your community, and being able to kind of change and grow with that has been huge for us. I think that's something we have done, and I'm proud of us for that, because I think if we got stuck in some of our set ways back when, we wouldn't have been where we are now. So I think it's important.
We have learned through a lot of mistakes.
Yeah,
I would say
yeah.
learning the hard way.
Yeah.
I think people can get MBAs and degrees and everything, but do they know how to pack a box of 12 glass cleaners being shipped to Nova Scotia? I don't know. So we learn along the way of that kind of thing. It's like kind of clunking your way through it and learning from your mistakes. And I think we just fly by the seat of your pants. And I think our number one thing is not take life so seriously, because it can get really serious. Like running a business, having a team, having staff. And I think that's always been Monika and I's motto, is like, let's find the humor in this, try and laugh every single day. Let's try and bring a smile to people's faces and create that work culture. I think that's what I've learned. It's been so huge. Work culture is like number one. You can teach anybody any skill, but to have that attitude and kind of like stay true to your values and your morals and what kind of workplace you want has been huge. I don't know if that's a little rambly.
A little off there.
Little off.
I think like our big saying around here with our staff and everything is protect our peace, and we protect it at all costs. So if somebody's coming in and they're not protecting it and they're causing, and we're just like, we can't have that, you know? So I think that's been key. I also, just to add to the point too, I think for businesses out there, using your learnings as you go along to share with your community. So I think because we have such dedicated followers and customers, because through this whole journey, we've shared every time we've messed up or every time we've won, like we share it all. And I think that's been huge too. And it's made us more comfortable with messing up, because we feel like we have people rooting for us there to support us, or they'll remember something. Oh, you're doing this because you accidentally ordered this. We're like, that's right. So it's just like, make it fun, like Robyn said. So make those mistakes, make those learnings, make everything fun, and involve your community with it, because in the end, it kind of is a win.
I love your authenticity and your innovation and your creativity. And there's this children's book out there. It's called The Beautiful Oops. And I can't think of the author, but I love how you're saying, like, you have made mistakes and all those things, but you learn from them, right? And I think that's so key. And I so appreciate how you both are so open to kind of sharing your whole journey. So there's one example I'm thinking of that I noticed. It was, I think that you ordered packaging and it ended up being too small. But then you turn that into an incredible opportunity to support your local food bank.
Yeah, totally. I think we've raised like almost $3,000 for them now with those. So it, like you said, and now it's a win. So
it's just so hard. We're kind of in the sustainability business. So to have 10,000 of those pouches, we're like, we cannot throw these out. What are we going to do with them? I was like, they're the perfect little samples. So why don't we try and make something good while having that education? Like, hey, you're going to buy this, just so you know, the metric is wrong. This is wrong. It's tiny. But I mean, people are like so happy to buy that, and to like stocking stuffers and for gifts and everything. And just, you know, it's really important to have that education. But one thing that we learned is like what a die line is. So check your die lines for graphic design. You guys know what I'm talking about.
And now we always ask for a sample first, no matter what before, because we used to always be like, try to be nice to the, oh no, it's fine. Yeah, go ahead. And now we're like, no, we need a sample. So you learn. But I remember those boxes came in, it was 10,000 of them. And, you know, I think most people we open them, and I think most people would cry, where we just like, we laughed for probably like, because it's not like, I'm not saying we're like, but sometimes you just have to like let the, you know.
It's just
is what it is.
Kind of funny though.
They're pretty
funny. If you look at them, they're funny.
They're insane. I get so embarrassed when people don't know and they're at the store and they're like, oh, and I'm like, there's a story behind that. So it's just
Oh, I loved that story. And I loved how you were both so open about that. Our oldest is actually in his first year at Mount Royal University and thinking he wants to go into business. And I'm like, you got to look at these two amazing humans and the business that they've built, because I think it's such a great case study in a way. It's a great story about learning from your mistakes. And there's going to be ups and downs, and really just being curious and not getting too stuck on those situations that happen and using them to move forward. So Rylan is learning from you. Now, you have had some incredible experiences. So you mentioned something about Dragon's Den coming up. So I know there's going to be an episode airing this fall, which is very exciting. I also saw that you are finalists for an RBC Canadian Women Entrepreneurial Award. I think it looked like it was going to be announced in November. You had a product featured in the spring 2022 Jilly Box, and there's all these other things as well. So I'm just, I'm curious how these accolades and experiences have impacted your business and what have you learned from them?
Well, I think our first big one was the Jilly Box. And I
Yeah.
think if anyone's ever been touched by Jillian Harris, you know, it's like getting touched by gold. Our followers went through the roof that night, and then our orders skyrocketed. And then of course those customers become returning customers. So you can't thank her enough. And then when they actually reached out to ask about the scrub, and it was pretty funny. We were pretty new, and they're like, we're under the impression you hand make those. Is this something you could do? And this is 15,000 jars they need. And like our scrub is quite the process. And we're just always like, yeah, no problem. We always say yes. And then we're like, we'll figure this out later. And so we had like volunteers, our husbands, people coming in. Like it was quite the community event, just getting all those labeled and made and filled and sent off. So it was,
it was wild.
But it got your name out there to 15,000 people. And I think that was our first huge win, and still have people like, I first found you in the Jilly Box. So that was a big win.
I think the big thing with all that stuff is like, we get nominated for these awards and we have these influencers, but it was because of our creating that community online, right? So Jillian posted on her social media, hey, do you know any good cleaning companies? And because we already had a bit of a presence, people were like, Mint Cleaning, check them out. So I think it just comes down to the community that we've built, and being from Ucluelet and the community we've built here. And that is really what has gotten us to these places, I would say.
All the voting, like we just got nominated for a small business BC again. We won last year, and we got nominated for People's Choice, and that's all just vote. So again, like Robyn said, it's just us saying in our community, hey, if you have time to vote, and then you just get, it's like hundreds of people. It's like, I voted, I got so-and-so to vote, and you're just like, tears, you get teared up because you're just like, these people don't owe us anything, but they've started to feel like family and friends in the DMs. And I know these people's lives at this point, but like Robyn said, it's all community. We use that word a lot. And I think if you're starting a business, building your community is the only thing that's going to get you through.
And especially now, I think so many Fortune 500 businesses, those big businesses like Method. Do you know the owners of Method? I don't. So I think it's a kind of a newer phenomenon to have this social media presence, and for small businesses to be on social media in this way, to show the behind the scenes and to show the raw and the real and the human behind the brand. People can buy a cleaning product anywhere, but it's the story that they're purchasing, really, right? So that's my biggest number one thing for new businesses starting out. Try and put yourself out there, create that story, because it's like number one for us.
Yeah. People are so scared of social media, and it's like, it's a free marketing. Use it. Just use it. Even if you're not comfortable showing your face, start off small. But I think it's such a shame to let that go and not be part of that if you're trying to grow a business, because you have that opportunity to have your own community. And so sounds like a cult. I didn't like
the mint cleaning cult. I think, the community piece is so key. Forming those relationships with people. Like, people have that connection with you. They're rooting for you. They feel a part of what you're doing because you bring them along on those experiences alongside you. And I think relationships are key. As a teacher in the education space, I'm all about relationship-centered teaching and learning, because it's a way that you can make an impact, right? What you say, do, can leave really that lasting impact on people. It's beyond the cleaning products itself. People feel that connection to Monika and Robyn and your amazing story and all the incredible work that you do and the ways that you touch the community around you as well. But I have to ask you, Dragon's Den, I know you can't say much, but what were sort of the feelings around that experience and heading into that? I can't even imagine. So
I'll back up a little bit. So my brother was on Dragon's Den twice for his business. So he's an entrepreneur too. And so I saw the impact it had on his business. I think when he was in 2006, so when it like a long time ago, but basically his website crashed after airing. And he's always like, you got to get on Dragon's Den. It's kind of like the Canadian entrepreneur, like crescendo, right? Of what you do. And so I was always like saying to Monika, I'm like, we got to try it for Dragon's Den. And she was like, no, I can't do that.
Just like the thought of standing, like, I'm sorry, but I'm sure people can understand.
No,
I wasn't
100%.
It's just like, and the whole thing, like, would we even get on and like standing in front of them?
And so then we were like, it was just this random, I knew that they were doing auditions. And then Monika said, hey, if they reach out to us to ask us to audition, then we'll do it. That's the only way I'm going to do this. And I kid you not, the very next day, Dragon's Den producer reached out. She thought it was a joke. I showed her the email.
Yeah, I thought she wrote up the whole thing.
And then they asked us to audition, and then we did, and we got on the show. It was all very fast. I think we auditioned in March. We found out April. We were in Toronto to film in May. We hired a pitch coach to help us, and like, yeah, the whole thing, you have to demonstrate somehow. So it's this whole big production. It's a lot of stress and a lot of practice. And
yeah,
then
it's not what people think. It's like we got the script, and then our producer's like, no.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. It eats. It's like it's huge.
It's a process.
It's a big process. Yeah.
And then we get there, and then it was like the scariest thing we've ever done.
The team was amazing. Like our producer was so sweet, and the crew, like they made it as comfortable as possible. But it's so weird. You go to a studio, you have the day before we got to set up, so they would just kind of wheel them out. And then you're kind of you can kind of hear what's going on. Yeah. And it just started, I don't know, for you, I was just like, I almost felt like I was going to faint. I was like, and then the next day we show up and you're just waiting, and we were told we were first. We were like, okay, yeah. But then they're like, actually, you're going to be after lunch, which is like 2 p.m. So our sweat level and our like fight or flight mode, that whole thing, I was at like a 10. It was pretty wild. We were getting weird.
And the best part was, so I'm going to tell you a little story. So we were like, we got our microphones on. We're taken backstage. So we're ready, like we're about to go. And they have this big clock. And it's like 5-minute countdown, big clock. Those 5 minutes were like the longest 5 minutes. And I didn't realize we were hot mic'd. And I was like, Monika, would you rather do childbirth or this? And she was like, childbirth. Yeah. And then the clock goes to 0, and then it starts flashing, and then it's like overtime. And then we went out, and then we killed our pitch, and it was, we can't say anything beyond that.
Yeah,
but
it was great.
Yeah.
It was crazy because once we actually got out, it's like everything just went numb, and they were there, and it just kind of felt like, and we were so practiced. Like if anyone's ever going to go on there, like the amount of, we watched so many episodes. We wrote down every question possible. You have to know your answers. You have to know your business. Like that's what everyone's going to tell you your number is. And we knew like every question, and they're pretty impressed, except for like there's one maybe. But yeah, I was like, whoa, that was good advice. Because we really had to know every single number of our business.
Yeah, they just
like,
put you out to the wolves.
They want you to fumble. So they're looking for things, and they're using acronyms for some things. And I make up my own acronym.
But anyway, it was a good experience in the end.
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations. And I love that you just kind of put it out there if they call us, and then they do. Yeah. I'm excited to see the episode air, and I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, if I was standing there, I probably would have passed out.
You're there for an hour. Your pitch, like it's only 7 minutes is what you actually see on TV, but we were actually in there for a whole hour of being grilled, like question after question, and like
my back was going to give out. I think from the stress, but there's a point where I'm like, I'm going to fall down, and I'm just like looking at, smiling and answering, and I'm like, I'm gonna fall down.
It was a long time. It's the biggest misconception when you watch the show. Like, we're there for
the power of editing, right? It's just you would know with yours.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were out there like an hour.
And how tired were you after?
It was we were.
I hadn't slept in 2 days before it. I get insomnia anyway, so of course, obviously, I'm not gonna sleep for this, and then but the feeling. So pretty funny. So another funny story is we had to memorize our pitch, right? It's a full minute. So Rob and I would just be throughout the weeks walking, whatever we're doing. All of a sudden one of us would start
dragons.
Yeah, I'm Monika. So we do the whole thing to make sure we do it. So walking in Toronto before we got there constantly. And then we would just hug each other after, and we're like, we never have to do that again. We never have to say that pitch again in our lives. And we were just like, so there's so many good feelings after. And we had the whole next day in Toronto. So we just like,
we crashed. I think we got home and like there was like that adrenal fatigue. Like we crashed hard for a week after. I remember just being so tired.
Yeah, so much energy. I bet, like anticipating and then just being there and like all the things. Wow, congratulations. And I can't wait to see the episodes.
The funny thing is they don't tell you your air date till you're 3 weeks before, so we won't know. We still don't know when we air because we can be in November, and we won't find out till November 5th. So it's like frustrating. They say so many times, do not ask us. Like it's kind of in the contract. I'm assuming because at this point I can feel like people are probably like, hey,
when?
So.
Hey, I know you said not to ask, but we're just wondering.
It's such an us thing to do too.
And you're not guaranteed airtime, like deal or not. So that's the other thing. So people you spent like obviously going to Toronto, all this stuff, and you still don't know, but it's like you're just so hopeful. But we know we will be aired. We just don't know when.
Well, I can't wait. I've got the series set up to record. I wanted to circle back to something you touched on earlier, because social media, as you said, plays such a big role, particularly with small businesses and just in today's business landscape in general. And for those of you who are like hiding under a rock and have not heard of these amazing individuals, how have you really harnessed the power of social media to grow your brand? Tell us.
Well, yeah, I think it's been huge, like number one for the growth of our business. You got to treat it like a job, I would say. It is hard work. I mean, it's all Monika. She does all of our ideas and social media. She's so creative.
She's a big acting star. So
But
I love editing and I love
Yeah.
putting things together, but we try to answer every DM,
Yeah.
every comment, and we're on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Robyn does LinkedIn.
Yeah. I think it's Gary Vaynerchuk that like talks about this at length. It's like, you got to go, where's the attention? So the attention isn't on TV anymore. It's not radio. People aren't watching, ads on TV or commercials and listen, so people are on social media. So where are they? That's where they are. So that's where you need to focus. And the best part about us as a small business right now, it's all free. So it's not like we're paying hundreds of thousands for a TV ad. No. We can do this for free.
Organic
so that
marketing.
It is number one.
And the other people, if you're advertising on TV, you're putting a commercial in there, you don't have the availability of people commenting and asking you questions and interacting in those ads. So even our meta ads, I still respond to all the people commenting on like an ad that aren't our followers that are seeing ads, and because you have that opportunity, it's like, oh, I'd love to answer that question. So I think we brushed on that a bit earlier. If you're not doing it, it's a little insane because it's there for you. It's as free as you want it to be. You can put some money into it and even experience a bit more growth that way. But it's you
don't want to do it, and just hire someone to do it for you. Put your marketing dollars in there. That's for your best bang for your buck, is putting money into this kind of marketing. I think we've grown our company because of it.
Are we like 90% of our sales
99
on like Instagram? It's crazy. So we've had some big sales. So it's just, it's there. And make it fun. Like my mom always says, if I didn't know you on your Instagram, I wouldn't even know you sold products. And it like bothers her. But we're like, it's so funny. Like we don't want to push. You don't want to be pushy. You don't want to push sales. It's there. It's slightly sprinkled. But I think, again, the word community, building that fun environment and all that, so that people are there and they're not just going to scroll past like our product posts do the worst out of anything. It's like so funny, but you got to put them in there.
Well, you're both very creative. Do you have a favorite post or reel or something that you've done where you're like, yes? Is there something that stands out? It was just so much fun to kind of go do, and when you got the idea, you're like, this is it, kind of thing.
I think for me, the Jilly Box ones always get me really excited. The Baywatch Jilly Box one really stands out in my head as one of my favorites. But there's quite a few, but I feel like that stands out in my
I would say so. Like, the dancing's kind of fun. I really liked our Backstreet Boys dance with the chairs.
See, I know.
That was one of my favorites. But it's like some of my favorites don't hit. It's just like my weird sense of humor being able to come out. Not everyone's going to get it, but I like the really random one-off ones.
And
it just tickles me.
We've had 3 that have gone viral, and they're like ones that took 2 seconds. It's one of my face zoning out in like an interview thing, and then with like the caption over it. So you never know. And that one took 2 seconds to put, and then we'll have ones that take us hours and hours.
And that one has like
11 million
views
now.
Yeah.
Finding the relatable content will really get you the kind of views and likes and stuff like that.
On brand for this podcast is education. So everybody has something to teach somebody.
Totally.
So if you're an accountant and think you're going to be really boring on social media, guess what? You can probably make numbers exciting and teach somebody something that they want to learn that's going to relate to their lives.
Totally.
So we're teaching people like dumb cleaning tips or how to running a business, how to build a community. So there's always something that you can offer an audience in a creative way. I think that's the number one take home.
Like value, like providing value for your followers is huge, because you don't just want to take from them. It's not just like, buy my product, buy this, but give them something. Give them more than you're taking, and they'll win off that.
Well, that fits so nicely with my podcast, People Teaching People. I love that so much, because I think like me doing this podcast with my guests is such a gift, because I get to sit down and learn. So I have this amazing conversation. I get to soak it all up and learn. And there's this Adam Grant quote that I talk about all the time. And the gist of it is like, what if we were really intentional about knowing that we could learn something from everyone that we meet?
Totally.
And I think it's so true. Like we all have something to teach and share, and people really appreciate that. And I love that you brought that up, because when I look at your social media and your website, like that's my lens, right? So that's right what I go to. I'm like, oh my goodness, like these ladies, like you've got tips, you've got online guides on your website, you have a book, swap it for mint. And that educational piece is such a big part of what you do, and a great way to engage your people. And so I'm curious, with that educational piece, like, is there intention behind it, or what do you really enjoy about kind of sharing those tips and tricks and educational pieces in your business?
Yeah, I think it kind of what makes us stand out in a way. Like I said, you can go get any sort of eco-friendly cleaning product on the market, but what brand is actually teaching you how to use those cleaning products in a way that's going to be effective? So I think when people say, what makes you different? I think we have like the education. We have a whole cleaning guide. We have a whole book. We have a whole guide on how to turn over an Airbnb if you run an Airbnb. So I think that it is a huge value to us, is how do we give our audience value besides just a product? And you don't have to buy your products. There's other DIY that we can offer you in your home. So it is a way to get your customers to be engaged with you without forcing sales on them, right? So it is huge for us.
People appreciate it so much. And again, we've gotten like people like, why are you, we'll do a reel, like, here's a DIY like scouring paste, like, you know, and they're like, you sell scrub, why would you know? And it's just like, well, just exactly,
you're just happy
education
you're here.
And teaching. Thanks for joining. And the thing is, people will see that, but still 9 times out of 10 or more, they're going to buy your product anyway. But they appreciate the value, and they appreciate you making that effort and providing that. And also truly and like genuinely, like, I know people out there can't afford things. We get lots of DMs where people are like, I can't quite afford your products, but what would you recommend? And so it's also about that, of knowing from our health journey of getting super sick off these cheap, crappy commercial products. So I'd rather give them a recipe that contains some like vinegar and dish soap from home, or something they can make that'll work really well, that won't make them sick. So I think it's also like genuinely just want people to not use the things that got her scarring on her lungs and like made us sick. And I almost killed myself in a glass shower with vinegar or with bleach, you know, like there's a lot of dangers out there. So trying to like get that out of people's hands. And
you're making the world a better place. You are. I can feel, and I think everybody sort of feels like that genuine desire to help and improve things for people, right? You've had an experience in yourself, and it inspired you to make a difference for others, which is just amazing. And along with all you do in your business, you've got these smaller humans in your lives, and being a mom and working and just that juggle. I don't know, for myself, it's never been an ability to balance that. It shifts from time to time, but how do you manage all the things in your life, like all the different balls you're holding in the air? And what advice might you give somebody kind of working through the same sort of challenges themselves?
I have a quote by Elizabeth Gilbert. Balance is just one more thing we're not doing right. It's just another thing that we have to do. It's all about balance. We have to balance everything, but it actually makes me feel better in a way. It's like, okay, crap can hit the fan, and that's okay. And we're stressed out, and that's okay. It's just like a passing, I don't know, it's nothing lasts forever. And it's just having those systems in place where you can manage that by having rules and boundaries for your own life. So like, I'm not going to check emails past 6 p.m., which I do anyway, but it's just there. It's one thing that I can work towards, having those little mini goals. Another thing, our husbands are really supportive. So we feel really lucky that way, that they can kind of pick up the slack sometimes. But I just think go easier on yourself. And
having a partner too. Like I always think, if I had to do all this on my own, and I think about that for entrepreneurs out there that are on their own, I'm like, kudos to you, because I couldn't do this without Robyn. There's just no way. And I think having the understanding and support, like, oh, my kid's sick, Robyn's going to pick up the slack that way, or Robyn's got something, or I got to run here with it, I got that. So
and our team, of course.
So I think for us, it's the team and it's the partnership that helps so much, because I would fall through the cracks if I was doing this alone. And every day I have guilt. The balancing is so hard, and every day I'm either like almost in tears, so I feel like a crappy mom, and if I'm being an awesome mom, I feel like I'm failing the team. So I ask others for advice on this one. I can't really dish advice, because I feel like I haven't figured that one out yet personally, but be kind to yourself. One thing my mom taught me, she was a single mom with 3 kids and busy, and she's like, make the time count. So quality over quantity. So when you have that time with your kids, phones away, do something fun with them. They'll remember that fast hour if you're actually engaged, versus all day long being on your phone, half-assed paying attention. So quality over quantity, and systems in place. That's our new thing.
Systems in place. Systems in place.
Yeah.
At least
we're always working on it.
Mini goals. Like try like journal yourself. Like try to figure out what is one thing that you can work on that's going to give you more balance in your life.
For all of us, having that like 2 hours where your phone's away or hidden away in a drawer or something. Just like little things that can help. But it's hard. It's very hard. Balance is very hard.
And I don't really have met anyone that's really figured it out.
No.
So I think we're all just trying our best, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's so good to talk about it. Because I think sometimes when we're just in our own head and we're thinking we're just failing at it all, right? Like we're not doing a great job as a mom, and then maybe works, all the things. It's just having that conversation out there. You realize this is just, we're all kind of going through it and finding our way. And I love your tips about like looking for something small.
Yeah.
And like that quality over quantity piece and just setting those small goals can make such a difference, because it can be so overwhelming to like think I need to work towards having it all just figured out.
Totally.
Like never.
I like another quote too. You can have it all, just not all at the same time.
Now, the partnership piece, I want to lean into that for a minute, because you mentioned just having one another. So, as co-CEOs, is that what you would
We
consider?
like to be co-founders.
Co-founders. I'm curious, like, what practices or things do you do that kind of help you maintain that successful partnership? Because you've also got this amazing friendship too.
Yeah. I think our roles, however it happened, just naturally kind of delegated things we're each better at, and it just kind of is this perfect split divide, and neither of us really cross into each other's worlds too much, and we just kind of
stay in our lane.
Stay in our lanes. Obviously, there's a bit we talk about everything, so that's not we do talk about everything, but I think I do social media, so that's basically our lanes.
Yeah.
But she's very good. I just couldn't believe it. Like when we first started, I think I always joke, if I still did this by myself, I would just be at a little market, because she just figured out, well, we want to order like percarbonate from here, but how do I get it from here? And she would just research and find out how to, like, she scaled us. I would never know how to scale to this size. So I give Robyn all the credit.
Anyway,
and I'm just along for the ride.
You got the commercials.
Yeah, so it's kind of like sales and then business. It's just kind of how it is, and we've just found things that we're both good at. We both kind of split up our emails and customer service kind of thing, but yeah, I think picking your lane and staying in it and trusting each other. We really put a lot of trust into each other.
Yeah, communication is just so huge. I think we have that foundation. Like we're so lucky we have that foundation of friendship and respect, but we also work on our marriage the same way you would work on a regular marriage, right? So it is like that communication when things are feeling like, I know what pushes her buttons, she knows what pushes mine, and we don't do that to each other. You know what I mean? I know what her limits are. And so if, say, there's a weird vibe, I'm going to be texting her right away and recognizing that weird vibe, be like, hey, are we good? Like, did that bother you? I'm sorry I said that. And that goes both ways, right? To have that really open communication. And things aren't always perfect. And we had a situation last January where things were getting a little resistful, or I don't know what the word is. But we actually had a huge, like, almost therapy session between us. Like, okay, let's bring it back down. Really be open and honest with each other. And it is so, so important. The same way you work on your marriage at home. Yeah. Because we have our family, right? Our staff, our team, our baby.
We're mom and dad here.
We have to be good for that. So it's really important.
Because I bet you can both get so busy just doing all the things.
Yeah. So anyway, we have a couple differences, but we really like them about each other, I think. Yeah.
So. It's the introvert extrovert kind of dynamic, but she pushes me out of my shell and I bring her in. So
that's exactly where my mind went. I'm like, I wonder. So with all the positive vibes in each of your own ways that you put out, be it a hug or a fist bump or whatever, you really do give back a lot to your community. So we mentioned the food bank, but also you are generous with Mamas for Mamas. I saw that you did some things with the Ukrainian humanitarian crisis relief through the Red Cross. So what does community mean to you? I know we've talked about the importance of community, but what does it really mean to you, and why is it so important for you to give back?
I think we're both big believers in karma. What goes around comes around. And I think we just naturally do both have like big giving hearts, maybe too much sometimes, but it's in both of our nature. So I'm so glad, because I know it's important to me. It always, like, donating and all those things have always been something I've done. And same with Robyn. So it was nice that we align that way. Not one of us is like cheap. It's getting a bit out of hand now, our emails of like donations for all these things where we say yes to everything, and then our office manager's like, guys, this is getting so out of hand.
We need a plan.
So it can get out of hand, I will admit that. But I think the Mamas for Mamas is so huge because, again, they use the word community. So it's not just like they're handing out, it's not this place where people have to go and feel ashamed and pick up food. It's like these beautiful buildings and spaces with coffee and stuff for people to grab. And, naturally cleaning products that are really bad for you are really cheap. And that's unfortunately what a lot of like our country has to buy. And so I think it's nice for them to have a better option, and they can come refill. All the refills are there. So we're in 3 locations. And I think for me, that was a big one. My mom, again, like I said, single mom, and we did the whole like food bank thing. And she was just like, I would have loved that when I was around, like a place of community and this, like, not feeling ashamed. So that was like a no-brainer when they reached out. And that's been like 4 years now, or like since 2020, I think I've been with them. So huge.
You have to give back. It's so important.
It's so
important. It's like it's huge.
Yeah,
you just got to do it. If you take money, you got to give it. You got to give some back.
I think it is. What goes around comes around, karma. We're big believers in all that stuff.
Yeah.
Shannon Christensen and that whole big community she's built is just amazing.
Yeah.
She's an amazing human, that one, for sure. So what's next for Mint? Do you have anything that you can share that's kind of coming up, you're working on?
Well, we have our body line coming up. So shampoo, conditioner, body wash, that's going to be launching next week. That was a couple years in the making. We just wanted to be like a one-stop shop. When you come into our store, you can get all your household supplies. And with the commercial program, so getting into hotels, ecotourism, we want to grow that, our commercial side. Other than that, we just want to like keep growing our online store and growing our community. And we've had some big opportunities come our way recently. We've had to do a lot of soul searching within our business, like a big box chain wanted to have a meeting with us and I don't know if you're allowed to say, but whatever. We can say. It's all good.
I think it's fine to say that.
Yeah, Costco. And we had to really think about the value of our business and what we want Mint to be. And we decided, yes, these shiny objects can, and then we decided to not do it and just focus on our community and our small mom and pop shops and those have supported us from the beginning and kind of stay away from big grocery stores. So yeah, we've done a lot of soul searching. We've always been like worldwide domination, but I'm like, what does worldwide domination mean? And do we want
scary.
that? So just really kind of keeping that community vibe with Mint. And that's kind of it. We just want to keep going and keep growing that side. Yeah.
Stay the course. I think, we're pretty excited to launch. The body line will be on the 24th and we know that'll be like, that's been our big excitement around here lately. And we're going to Toronto for something we can't really say. We're sharing on our stories. We always like to take everybody along on our adventures, but we can't say too much about the specifics, but another Toronto trip. I had never been to Toronto my whole life. And this last year, I'll be going 4 times. We'll go again for the
We're going twice in a month.
Like my second home.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
And the last time we went was 2 in 1 month too. So it's so funny.
Well, it's exciting. And I guess we'll all just have to stay tuned.
Yeah.
For some exciting stuff ahead and exciting about your upcoming launch. That's awesome. We'll have to keep an eye out for that. Now, teaching has been a big part of your journey, and both in the learning that's happened for both of you along the way and then in how you support and teach to your community. So I'm wondering if you have a favorite teacher. If you look back on your journey, and it could be someone from your K-12 schooling or even outside of that, just somebody that's really inspired you, mentored you along the way.
Can I say my mom?
Aww.
Yes.
For me and my giving back spirit, my mom is such a huge advocate for volunteering, and she's part of Rotary, and she's always said you have to give back. It's the number one important thing, and just teaching me like morals and always having that support. And she's my greatest teacher for sure. She's amazing. Yeah, that's my number one. Did I take yours?
I have to say the same. My mom too. Yeah. I think for my mom, she's just been a pillar of strength and resilience my whole life. Watching her, she's such a powerhouse. She still works full time. She had 3 kids and married again and 5 kids, and then worked 60 hours. She's insane. But just the amount she can get done. They say if you want something done, give it to a busy person. That's my mom. She can just get anything done, and she has 14 grandkids, and she shows up to everything. Yeah. She's a anomaly. I don't know, but look up to her so much. I feel like about our work ethic as well. Another word comes from our moms, from stories we share and everything. We always
love you, Mom.
We always had to work hard for that and rules and boundaries and all the things they did. But I feel like it made us people we are today. Yeah,
that's really nice.
Thanks, mamas.
Thanks, Mama.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, when you look back at your journey so far, and you've had quite the journey, both of you, is there something that you would say you are the most proud of?
I would say Dragon's Den is terms of scariest thing I've ever done. I know it's kind of that's not super deep and inspiring. You were going to go deeper.
I don't know.
I think it's just the truth. I've never been so scared in my life. And I think being able to do that with her, and that was my proudest moment for sure. Putting myself out there.
Yeah. That's huge. I think for me too, that was definitely biggest moment. I think too, it's so cheesy, but I think we're on the main road here in UQ, and every time I drive past and I see our big sign and our big window sign and our Mint and all this, and I'm just did we do that? Like,
Yeah.
I always see the Steve Urkel, like, like, and it's just so true. It's like, how did we started in like our basement, in our kitchens, and now we have all this going on. So I think whenever I see the building with our sign, it's all of that into one, but it's just knowing like, we just build something out of not knowing anything. And that's pretty wild.
Not knowing anything.
Literally.
You had an idea, you had a conversation.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a million steps along the way, but look what you've done.
It's like theme of your podcast. It's like people taught us along the way, and then we teach them, and it's so true. It's like teaching people. So it's just as we went along, and now we get advice, and I'm like, it's so funny that we can answer questions now that we ask those same things, and we went through all those hard times and mistakes.
Yeah, we all do. It's a journey, a learning journey every single day. Now, I always talk about how education plays such a big role in everything that we do. So how we work and we play and we build relationships. So I'm wondering if you both have any final words of wisdom that you could share with people listening to help them or inspire them on their own teaching and learning journeys.
Yeah, my biggest thing is just like try to find the fun in it. Try and find ways to laugh with each other and to not take life so seriously. Anytime things are getting really serious, just try and find something funny in life. I think that's been so important. Like we've had some really, really hard times and really hard learning, and I really try and stay light. And it's just like you have your health, you have your family, nothing, you still got money in the bank, gratitude, like try and bring it all down. And I don't know if that was a good answer, but
that's great. I think my favorite business one, I think we have two quotes that we kind of live by with business. And one is like, always take the meeting. So we've learned something, crazy things have happened from things we're like, I don't know. And then we meet these people and something that just changed the course forever or whatever. So I think take the meeting. And if you're not embarrassed of your first launch, you launch too late is another like favorite one of ours. So we just started selling our scrub in the most embarrassing jars with like paper sticker labels slapped on. They looked horrible. People wanted them though, so we started selling them before. And then we got like, okay, let's get some proper bottles and stuff. But I think I hear from some friends that are wanting to start things, and they're like, I'm just waiting for this. I'm waiting for this. And once this happens, then this, I'm like, if you keep waiting and for things to be perfect, you're never going to do it. It's like when people wait for the right time to have a kid, nothing's going to be, you just got to go for it. Don't take the kid advice on that, but you know what I mean? But I think in terms of like, just do it. If your gut's there and you got it, strike while the iron's hot and just go. Don't wait for things to be perfect before you launch.
Well, that's great advice from both of you. And Monika and Robyn, I want to thank you both so very much for taking this time to share your stories and all your words of wisdom with us today. So if our listeners want to learn more about you and all the things that you're up to and all the things that you can't even talk about yet, where are the best places to find you?
Things, secrets, Costco, Instagram at mintcleaning_, and the same for Facebook and YouTube and
mintcleaningproducts.com is our website. You can call our store 250-726-6468.
726
come call us.
Our personal cell phones will leave at the bottom.
Well, maybe not, but I'm actually on Vancouver Island summer 2025 for my 30-year high school reunion.
Wow. You look like
right? Well, it's not like exactly 30. It's a little bit early, but seriously, right? Oh my gosh. Anyways,
did you go to high school on the island?
I went to Lester B. Pearson College of the Pacific, like on the southern tip. So for my last 2 years of high school. So there's a reunion happening there. And so our plan is like as a family to go, maybe not our oldest who will be working, but I'm like, ooh, maybe I could pop by and like see the store in real life. And so maybe see you next summer. I'll give your store a call. Thank you both so much for joining me today. It was honestly awesome to connect with you and to learn from you both.
Anytime. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, that was such a great conversation. Totally. So I really appreciate it.